Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Lunchtime Live. I'm Mr. Riesel, and I'm so glad you're here to join me for our third March Women's History Month related story. Over the last couple of weeks, if you've been joining me, we've been reading about some incredible women from all over the world throughout history who have made significant contributions, who have made an impact to make the world a better place. And today we are going to be reading about and celebrating an incredible young woman named Malala Yousafzai. Malala is currently 23 years old, but when she was younger, attending school in Pakistan, she was actually attacked by a militant group who did not believe that women and girls should get an education. And one of the themes that we've been talking about a little bit throughout our stories is that women haven't always had the same opportunities or the same rights throughout history as men and boys have. And these people who were powerful in Pakistan did not believe that girls should get an education. They did not believe that girls should be able to go to school. And Malala did not believe that that is how things should be. And she was so brave and spoke up to share what her beliefs were that people tried to silence her. So she was attacked. Fortunately, she survived and continues to this day to speak up and to fight for women's rights and girls' rights, specifically around going to school and getting an education for people all over the world. Because not everybody is as lucky as we are here in the United States to be able to get an education and to be able to be whatever we want to be when we grow up. So today we're going to be honoring Malala Yousafzai by reading this book entitled Free as a Bird, The Story of Malala. And this is by an author and illustrator named Lena Maslow. So before we get started, I wanted to share with you a video. This video shows a bunch of girls from all over the world writing letters to Malala, thanking her and appreciating all that she has done to try to get equal rights for them in places all over the world. Later on, after we read our story, when we get to the part where I talk about an activity, I'll kind of let you know where we're headed with this. I'm going to encourage you to write a letter to Malala. So think about that. I'm going to share this video with you, and I'll see you back in a couple of minutes.
Dear Malala, we have never met before, but I know you.
I have never seen you before, but I heard your voice. To girls like me,
you are a leader, an inspiration and a friend. And as a friend,
I wanted to write you on this very special day, your birthday.
I remember the first time I learned about you, your struggle, your survival.
all over the world, people wondered, why would anyone want to harm a young girl just for going to school?
But you and I know the answer.
In my country, the bullet that tried to silence you, to stop you from getting an education, comes in many forms.
Early marriage, poverty, discrimination, violence.
When you see that bullet coming closer, you want to scream, "Stop!"
You, Malala, have reminded me that it is my right, our right, to go to school.
And that rather than screaming in fear,
We must shout for change.
Because I am a girl! Because I am a girl!
Your voice has not been silenced, and I want you to know that we are all behind you.
Happy 16th birthday, Malala.
Soon, you will be at the UN General Assembly, showing adults how it's done.
Representing all of us.
Ciao! Ciao!
The world will see what a girl can achieve.
If only it would let her.
Yes, I'm doing my part by raising my hand.
Okay, I really liked that video because it really shows how inspiring Malala has been to girls all over the world. And again, not all places. not all situations for girls around the world are the same as they are here for us. And Malala has inspired a whole generation of girls and women to speak up and to fight for what they believe in and to really try to get equal opportunities for everybody. So today we're going to celebrate her by reading this story, and I hope you enjoy it. This is Free as a Bird, the story of Malala, written and illustrated by Lena Maslow. And this story starts out with a quote from Malala's dad. He says, "Don't ask me what I did. Ask me what I did not do. I did not clip her wings, and that's all." So what that's trying to say is that Malala's dad encouraged her to dream big and do whatever she believed in and wanted to do with her life. And Malala wanted to fight for what she believed in and wanted to fight for equal rights for girls around their education. And her father helped create a condition for her where she could do that. When she was born, people sighed and shook their heads. "A girl," they whispered. "What bad luck." But her father looked into her eyes and fell in love. "Malala," he whispered, and named her after Malala of Maiwand, a Pashtun heroine whose fearless words gave courage and turned defeat into triumph. Malala's father ran a school for boys and girls. He took her tiny hand into his and led her through the halls. Malala would sit in classrooms filled with older children, and she would listen. And before she could speak, she would wander into the empty rooms and teach. As Malala grew, she realized that women in Pakistan did not have the same rights as men. Women like her mother had to hide their faces. They were expected to marry young and have children. They could not be anyone they wanted to be when they grew up. Malala watched her brothers fly kites from the roof. She wanted to be free, like the kites. She wanted to fly. Malala said she would not follow those rules when she grew up, and while others around her would frown in disapproval, her father would smile and say, "That is my daughter." Malala will be free as a bird. So we're starting to see that Malala was kind of always this way, right? Her father can see what she was going to do and what she was going to become, even from a very young age. And Malala did feel free within the doors of her school, within the covers of a breathtaking book, within the patterned pages of calculus and chemistry. She loved to participate in public speaking contests at school and would often win. Her father said, "You should be a politician." Malala laughed and shook her head. She would be a doctor. Her father said, "You could help create a society where any girl could become a doctor." But then a new enemy came to Pakistan. At first, the enemy hid within the radio. They told the people what to do. They told the people that girls could no longer go to school. Then the enemy came out of hiding. They punished people who did not listen to them. They blew up schools for girls. The government sent an army to fight the enemy, and the war began. At night, Malala and her brothers hid in their parents' room as the two sides fired at each other. But during the day, Malala secretly went to school. Malala's father was not afraid. He spoke out and begged people to stand up to the enemy's demands. Malala watched her father's speeches. She said to herself, "Why don't you go and fight for girls' rights? Fight to make Pakistan a better place." Malala's mother said, "Speaking up is the only way things will get better." So Malala began to talk about the importance of schools for girls. "No one will stop me," she said. "I will get my education." But the enemy began to threaten Malala and her father. They told Malala's father, "Do not teach girls." This is a note to her father, who's a teacher, that says, "Stop this or you will be in trouble." They told Malala, "Do not talk about girls and education." One day, Malala's father told her she should stop speaking out because it was getting too dangerous. But Malala said, "This is now my calling. You were the one who said that if we believe in something greater than our lives, then our voices will only multiply." "I will protect your freedom, Malala," said her father. "Carry on with your dreams." But the day came when he could not protect her. For 7 days, Malala slept and dreamed. She awoke in a hospital. She was told that the enemy had tried to end her life, but she had survived. Malala was no longer in her beloved country of Pakistan. She was now in England, where girls are free to go to school and learn. But she knew that girls and boys in many countries could not. Some of the countries were too poor. Others were always at war. And still, others didn't think education was necessary, especially for girls. Malala would not keep silent. So she began to travel around the world and speak to girls and boys, to teachers, to reporters, to leaders and presidents and queens, to anyone who would listen. "I speak, not for myself, but for all girls and boys. I raise up my voice, not so that I can shout, but so that those without a voice can be heard. Those who have fought for their rights, their right to live in peace, their right to be treated with dignity, their right to equality of opportunity, their right to be educated. One child, one teacher, one pen, and one book can change the world." And Malala's father watched and said, "Look at her. Don't you think she is meant for the skies?" Here's a quote from Malala. "When the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful." Okay, hang on one second as I switch my camera over here. Okay, so that is a really powerful story about a really, really, really inspiring and incredible woman. Malala has done so much ever since she started speaking up and started fighting for what she believes in and trying to be the voice for people that she feel did not have a voice. That she has really made a tremendous impact in the rights for people all over the world. She was the youngest recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, which is a very, very, very special award given to somebody who is fighting to make the world better for the rest of the world, for people in general. So that's an incredible honor that she has received. And as the book mentioned, she almost, like without stopping, travels all around the world, meeting with so many people, presidents, TV hosts. The book mentioned queens, even like she's visited with the Queen of England. She has dedicated her life to trying to make other people's, especially girls' lives better. So my question and my challenge for you is to try to learn a little more about Malala. You can learn about her by looking her up online. You can ask your teacher. You can come talk to me. Learn a little bit more about Malala and her life and what she has done to help people. And then go ahead and write a letter to Malala. This is your optional activity. You don't have to do it, but if you do, I would love to see what you do. Go ahead and write her a letter, kind of like the people at the beginning of our time together today in that video I showed you. What did you learn about Malala? What do you think about what she's fighting for? How has she inspired you? What do you think about the power of one person's voice to make a change in the world? You could write a small message. It doesn't have to be a long letter. And if you write a letter to Malala and bring it to me, I will make sure that we send it off to Malala, and hopefully she can receive it and read it as well. So let me know if you end up doing that. Otherwise, friends, thank you so much for joining me. There are so many resources available to learn about Malala online, as well as other incredible women in history. This book is available in our library. All the books we've read during Women's History Month are in our library, and I hope you come to check them out soon. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you soon.